Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today, we're going to talk about finding the positive in everything. And it's really interesting because I've been trying to do that. I've noticed sometimes when I'm out of my comfort zone, my mind would jump to a catastrophic situation or outcome. And so I've really tried to reel that in, turn it around, and have my mind jump to everything's going to be good kind of situation. I've always done that. I have always thought of myself as a positive person. But it's easy to be positive when you're not at risk. An example would be, for me, it's trying to stand up and walk. And part of me jumps to, oh my gosh, what if I fall? What if this? What if that? And because it is somewhat of a high risk to worry about getting physically hurt. So I've tried to apply that. But the more I say it, the more I do it, the more my mind is going to that place. I was told a long time ago that repetition changes the way we think about things, and I'm going to back up and give you a little exercise, and it's amazing how it really does work. For example, if you're trying to think about something and your mind keeps going to a negative place as you're thinking about it, get a piece of paper, write down the negative thoughts that you're having. And then right next to it, write down a positive outcome. And do this with everything. It just takes a few days maybe. But it's interesting if you do this with every situation of having a negative thought and you write it down, turn it into the positive. Pretty soon your brain develops that on its own. It'll start to think positive. When it starts to think negative, it'll automatically flip it to a positive on its own, and this becomes a way of life with you. So I've done that, and it does work for sure, but we don't always have a piece of paper with us, and we can't always write it down. This would be something that you want to apply initially to get your mind going in that positive direction. However, I've been doing that within myself. I mean, really doing it. Particularly, and for me, my biggest challenge is physical, trying to stand, trying to walk. And there's a certain amount of fear that goes with it when you can't count on your body like you used to. So as I was doing this, I was feeling it start to actually work. Although I always thought I was a positive person, and the words that come out of my mouth would always be positive. But sometimes when I would do something that means a lot to me or something that scares me, my mind would sneak in a negative. So I'm trying to learn to walk again. That's my thing, my goal. In doing so, I've got to keep those negative thoughts away. So I've been really focusing on the positive when I stand up, when I start to do something, and I can feel my mind is developing more and more toward that. And with that, the fear diminishes. Because if you're not thinking of something bad happening, there's nothing to be fearful about. And this also carries over to what we talked about on the last episode. Negativity coming from somebody else and turning that into a positive. For example, last week we talked about, I personally was in a crowd of people and somebody said something kind of snarky, even though I had lots of wonderful conversations with so many people. But you tend to dwell on that negative. So as I thought about it, and this is the absolute truth, and it's becoming more and more real to me. When somebody says something that upsets you, or they do something that makes you think, oh my gosh, they're mad at me, or they're this or they're that, The absolute reality is it has nothing to do with you, and it will only hold you back. So it's as negative to jump to a catastrophic outcome as it is to let your mind process what you're going through in a negative manner as well. That needs to be turned around also. And when the reality hits you that it's not you, it is them, for whatever reason, could be what they're going through, could be their personality, could be anything, but it is generally not you. I have a friend, she said, so-and-so doesn't like me. And she said, she never talks to me when I see her, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, get in line. That person never talks to anybody. She treats everybody that way. So we tend to take things personally, and that is a very negative process also. So the two ways that we need to approach things and work on it, and believe me, I realize it doesn't happen overnight. I know things are easier said than done, but to be positive in what you're doing, what you're saying, and we've talked about this before as well, you develop that confidence in knowing that what you do is exactly the right thing. What you say is exactly the right thing. And what others say to you, it is their situation. And you never know what their situation is. They are just a product of their life, what they're going through, how they've been raised. It has nothing to do with you. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody encounters someone who's treating them kind of in a cool way or a non-attentive way or a cold situation, they automatically jump to, it's them, they did something wrong, or this person doesn't like them, or whatever. And the reality is, and you got to walk in knowing this, that it is not you. It is not you. When this happens, people are only acting to what they're feeling at that moment, what they've been through, what their situation is. Because we can't, and we do not live in a bubble. I know when you're home by yourself, it's easy to protect your mind, to protect yourself from uncomfortable situations. But the truth is that we have to live, we have to function, we have to be around people, not taking things personally and not letting what others say or do get to you. It keeps the outward situation from holding you back. Because if you allow what others say, what others think, how they think you should be, it will hold you back. And so you've got to be you. You've got to care about yourself. So what I'm saying is that we all need to be who we are, exactly who we are. And it's interesting because when we think so-and-so was thinking this, or we think somebody is seeing us a certain way, it is ironic that it's usually nothing like you're thinking. So your best bet across the board is being yourself. And if you're walking in confidence, walking in knowing, first of all, knowing that you're saying the right thing, that you're doing the right thing, that what others are saying has nothing to do with you, then your life will be a life of freedom. Because it's amazing how all of those things will hinder you, will wait on you. And the thing is, all of those things are pretty much imaginary. But as human beings, we tend to develop that, some more than others. I don't know if it's the way we're raised or what it is, but it's something that we need to look at and really recognize within ourselves that we need to get rid of that. And so we walk in positivity. We know that what we're doing, whether it's trying to stand up or giving a speech or a job interview, you got to know that you're going to do good. And in terms of your mind, when it jumps to a negative thought, you've got to work on that as well and get rid of those catastrophic thoughts. And I would suggest doing that by starting with, like I said, writing down the negative thoughts and the positive thoughts until your brain starts to automatically flip to the positive. And this is the third part of being an absolute free human being, free to be yourself, free to be your best. And that is, no matter what someone else says, don't let the weight of what they say pull on you, because it will hold you back. Know that it is 100% about them. So instead, grab on to the positive. Grab on to what's being said to you that is of a positive nature, that is fun. And don't dwell on the negative and let it pull you down, because it will pull you down. And pretty soon others can see it. It shows. When we're pulled down, it shows. There's a distraction that comes with it. Confidence is one of the most attractive things a person can have. I mean, looks fade, and plus it doesn't even matter. You can be the most beautiful woman or handsome man in the world, and if you don't have these other things together, it doesn't matter. So all of this builds a confidence. There's a confidence if you walk and you know, and we've talked about this earlier, if you know that what you're saying is the right thing, don't walk away and second guess it. I hope I said the right thing, or I hope I did the right thing. If you know that, then you become confident. Confidence is the most attractive thing a person can have. And to not worry about your physical, worry about it to the extent where we take care of it. And we always want to be the best that we can be. But you don't need to worry about it in terms of what other people think about it. Because to be honest with you, physical might be an initial thought that somebody has, but it really doesn't matter. In the big scheme of things, it doesn't matter. So that would be making your adjustment mentally, and by processing what you're witnessing or what's being said to you in a positive way, and knowing that if it is something less than positive, that it's not about you. And even if it is, even if it was said in a derogatory way, it doesn't matter. Percentage-wise, it doesn't matter what a handful or one person thinks or says or does, because the reason people usually try to intimidate you or put you down is there's envy in there somewhere. There's all different forms of envy, so you can learn to take it as a compliment. But when you really realize it doesn't matter, and you turn away from that negativity, turn toward the positivity, again, that sheds more confidence on you. So you might start out by saying, I can do this. Initially, it feels like it's just a lip service, but pretty soon you'll notice that your mind starts to take over in a way where that I can becomes a natural way of life, a natural way of thinking. It becomes easier and easier until it becomes a plateau that you're living on. And circle back, then you have become the positive, confident person. The physical is up to you to do everything you can do to make it your best. But the mental, everything internally, living on the plateau, walking with confidence, that's something that you can't buy. That's something that you can't put on every morning. It's something you have. And all of these things will help so that you walk daily in confidence. And that is so exciting, to be confident in everything you do, everything you think about, everything you say. Pretty soon, not only do you walk in it, but your posture also reflects it. With that being said, God bless you, I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.